So before I get started with this video, I was just wanting to tell Michael Roselle, he's the pastor of this ministry called the Refuge Ranch Church, Refuge Ranch Ministries, that what I'm about to say right now isn't a threat. It's not threatening. It's not defamatory. I'm not trying to ruin your reputation. I'm not trying to do this for money. The only reason I'm doing this is because you're a bully, and this whole lying for 2 years needs to stop. And you haven't told the truth out of the 2-year span that since this has happened, you haven't told the truth. So this is why I'm making this video right now, is to tell the truth, and you have no one else to be mad at but yourself. You know, these are the repercussions for being a bully on stage as a ministry. You know, you're going to get called out, and that's all there is to it. And you know, you have no one to blame but yourself. You have no one to be mad at but yourself. You know, after I say what I'm going to say, in the end, you have no one to blame but yourself, and you know that. So don't try coming after me anymore when I reveal when I say what needs to be said. Please don't come after me anymore. Don't point fingers saying, you're being defamatory, you're threatening me, you're harassing me, you're blah, 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 because you're blaming me for everything that you're doing or you have done to me, which is ridiculous. I'm going to point that out in this video. So I just wanted to tell Michael, you have no one to blame but yourself. These are the repercussions for being a bully and a ministry at the same time, which you can't be doing that. You can't be a bully and a ministry at the same time. So these are the repercussions of being a bully. Just wanted to point that out there. You have no one to be mad at but yourself. And with that being said, let's get started with this video. Okay, so I'm going to make this long story short. I want to tell you the whole, not story, but I want to tell you what happened 2 years ago up till this point, and then I'll take it from there. And basically what happened was is I've been battling with OCD, depression, anxiety, extreme OCD, and it's gotten bad to the point where I had to clean a bathroom for a full day. Like, I would step in that bathroom and clean it for a full day without coming out of that bathroom and taking a break and inhaling all those chemicals. Literally, a small bathroom shouldn't take but 10 minutes, and I spent the whole day on it, and I walked out with chemical burns on my hands. These aren't chemical burns. This is from pure anxiety from making this video. It's just rash, like dry skin, itching, and all that. So these aren't chemical burns. I've gotten through that part, and to the point where I'm taking I was taking around 14-hour showers throughout a week. Just 14-hour showers. I mean, that's horrible. And it had gotten really bad to where it basically confined me from moving out of my room, because I would do the same thing like I would do in the bathroom. I would spend pretty much all day cleaning this room, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I moved downstairs, which didn't seem to bother my OCD with cleaning and all that. So I could, sleep and rest well and not get bothered by my OCD and anxiety. And it went on for a while, and then my parents went to this ministry, and it was, it's called the Refuge Ranch Ministry, and they said, hey, this place is a really good place. They heal people, they pray for people, stuff happens. I'm like, okay, let's try going there. And when I went there, it was all right. People say they loved you. Keep coming back. We love you. We'll pray for you. We're A team, A+ team. I was like, hey, this place isn't bad. There's people here that actually care about me, and that's something that I've been missing. Besides my parents. My parents loved me, but that's been something that I've been missing for a long time in the church. And then I would go there. It would be on Friday nights, and I noticed he was a bit unhinged. And basically, like, he would always talk about, now I'm not into politics anymore, but back in 2020, I was hooked on politics. Or not hooked on politics, but I was really into politics. I'm not really into politics anymore. I just find it to be destructive. It's just best to leave the politics alone and do what's best for you and stop worrying about how the country's going to fall apart and whatnot. But he would always get up on stage and
wearing a mask was not designed by God, and it's already been proven, right? It was proven it was totally worthless. Okay, the jab, the stinking jab. I pray they hang each one of those guys slowly in front of everybody to put the fear of the Lord inside other people. Now you can say, well, that doesn't sound like a pastor. No, you don't sound like you're too smart if you agree with that. Here's what agreeing with that, I didn't say what I said was right.
I was like, okay. So I kind of brushed off my shoulder, and I was like, let me hold out. Let me see if he's got something, Christian to say and whatnot. And, looking back, every Friday night was practically the same thing. The only sort of thing for people to stay is, one, oh, we'll pray for you and you'll get healed. And if it doesn't happen, you can keep coming over here. And, it'll work. And the other part was politics. That's where he thrives in his politics. That's the only sort of power he has. But anyway, I went to this church. It was good. A little weird, but I stepped through it to see what would happen. And then eventually my dad got Michael and his assistant Almeida. So Roselle and Almeida came over here after quite a bit of rearranging to get them over here to meet. And him and my dad were texting back and forth and said, and maybe this Saturday, would that work? And it's like, oh, sure, that'll work. And he said, I'll bring Almeida. We'll have a cup of, bring a cup of coffee, and we'll talk. That was the whole premise, was for him to come over here and talk, because I had no friends at the time. Like my best friend moved away. I left my previous church. I had no friends, and who better to be a friend than a pastor? Like, that's a go-to choice for parents. And he came over here and started, he walked in like he owned the place. He tells us what we're going to do. He saw my crappy living situation. I was on an air mattress on the floor ever since the end of 2020. I had a lot of junk food on the side of the bed. I was depressed. I was overeating. And it just got to the point where it was bad. And he noticed that, which was fine and whatnot, I guess. And then he didn't drag me to the sunroom. He said, let's go to the sunroom, shut the doors, have a talk. And he got Almeida to start praying over me and doing an exorcism on me to get the power of witchcraft off me. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. What's going on? You were here to come talk to me, not do all this. He persisted to pray over me and pull the spirit of witchcraft out of me. And nothing was happening. I was just like, what's going on? And then after the prayer, I'm like, it's still me, still me. And then Roselle went like he laughed about it. I'm like, why is he laughing about it, And then he basically cut to the chase and before I continue with the story, I'd like to note that this is my room. I'd spent 3 months remodeling it into this beautiful, immaculate blue, cosmic blue, no popcorn ceiling, new fan. It took a lot of work and money to get it like this. And when I said I moved downstairs to the living room to sleep, I had done that at the end of 2020, and he came over in winter, or the beginning of 2022. When the prayer didn't work, he said, or he didn't say, he basically cut to the chase and said, basically, all right, well, we're going to go to your room and pray over it and get the demons or something out of it. I can't exactly remember what he said, but he wanted to come up here into this room. And actually, when my dad was talking to him, he was telling him that Roselle was telling my dad, he said, we're going to go up there to the room. And he said, no, don't do that. My dad said, whatever you do, be gentle. Which he was saying, don't, he was trying to say, don't come up here. Essentially, major OCD, don't come up here. It's gonna be bad. It's just gonna drive me anxiety, and it's just like, because I've worked hard for this, and the last thing I needed was OCD to take over and say I can't live in this room anymore. And then he said, all right, we're gonna go to this room. We're gonna go upstairs to the room. No, please don't do that. No. And he said, we carved precious time out of our schedules to be here, and we can do this all day. And that's a form of intimidation, I think. And it was really crap. He was basically peer pressuring me to do it. And then after a while of not negotiating with me, but saying, we got all day, we can do this all day if you want to, or something. And I just regrettably walked upstairs, and he got up to the door, and then I was in the process saying, please don't do. And then he said, what you gonna do about it? And then he opened the door and then just walked in, started looking through all my stuff. He looked behind my door at first, which was strange, and I'll tell you more about it after the story continues. Or not the story, but what happened, So I'll tell you more about it after I tell you what happened. So he continued to look through my stuff, my nightstand, my dresser. He actually said one of the figures I had, which was a golden Star Wars figure, like a Funko Pop, he said it moved 6 inches, and it never moved 6 inches. And he claimed it moved. He grabbed it saying, it's full of witchcraft and whatnot. And he went through my personal stuff, my closet, I had a little treasure chest that my mom gave me that I had personal stuff in. It was just, it's personal to me. It's not personal to him. It's not worth anything to him. But it was Galva Club comments, because I used to attend Galva Club, and I thought it was constructive criticism, because it was constructive. It is constructive criticism. And he just went through everything. He had taken a stack of games saying it's full of witchcraft and demonic stuff, and then he asked for a bag to be brought up, like a little plastic Walmart bag, and then he got me to put games in it. And he even pulled Spider-Man off, the Insomniac Spider-Man. He said that, it was deemed demonic or whatever. He said, put it in, he can do it. Put it in. He took all the games, basically. And I gave in and did it, and I'm just, while he's doing all of this destruction, him and Almeida was searching through this too. I was just sitting there crying, like, all this stuff gone to waste. All the stuff that I earned through work is just gone now, because it's my OCD. It's just how I think, or how I used to think, and still kind of think to this day, with certain things. And then after the damage was done, he sat me down in my chair. He said, I want to pray for you again. Try to pull out the spirit of witchcraft and whatnot. Of course, again, it didn't work. And then he offered me, he said that he wanted to adopt me, give me a hard-paying job at the ranch to fix cars and whatnot. I'm like, why would you say that in front of my parents? Because they walked in here to see what happened. And he's like trying to make himself look good or something. I don't know. It's just like, why would you say in front of someone's parents that I want to adopt you? And it's just, creepy. And it's just like, obviously I didn't take the job because I didn't care about the money. I was hurt by this dude. You know, I didn't take his job offer. I didn't talk to him. He just stood there and was like, are you okay? You sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah. And then him and Almeida just immediately left. Just abruptly left. And I thought, okay, why would he do that? You know, and it's just a crappy situation. I was crying. Eventually got a shorter shower because I thought everything was ruined. So for some reason I got a quicker shower. And, you know, I was really hurt. And then after 2 months, about 2 months, my dad sent him a text message or email saying, hey, you know, you got to talk to James, and like, you know, what you did was kind of rough. You know, you got to talk to him. Like, you know, it was too much. And he said, no, it wasn't. I was just blooding up my sword. I was doing God's work. You know, come to think of it, to this day, I'm like, whose blood is really on that sword? Is it innocent people that you just blindly say, I know everything, what's going on, and you're just hurting innocent people around you? Or are you actually killing demons? You know? And, you know, that's a good point to bring up. He said, I was just blooding up my sword, killing the enemy, blah, blah, blah. And then I think he said that the second email. And then he said that the second email, and then the third email, my dad was just like, look, you know, he asked Roselle, he said, you know, it took you 3 years to get cleaned up, or however long it took. It took a long time to get cleaned up, essentially, because he says that he's been, you know, convicted of drug and alcohol abuse and perversion and whatnot, and it took him a long time to get cleaned up from that, which all good and fine. You know, which is all good and fine. You know, that takes time to get cleaned up. And then, you know, my dad asked him, you know, it took you a long time to get cleaned up, and he said, he asked Michael, he said, how would you react if you faced everything that you've been through for, you know, the 3-year span that you try to get cleaned up and everything you've been through, you know, if you faced all of that, you know, the years of alcohol abuse and drug abuse in one day, just one day. And then he just went ballistic. He said, how dare you question my salvation? You don't know what you're talking about, and to keep your mouth shut. You know, he said all that. And then we were just shocked, you know, because he's arrogant. You know, he's just like, how dare you question me, my salvation, and, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. Just, you know, you need to shut your mouth. And then, you know, he sent a message saying, don't ever contact my son again. And then, you know, he sent a message saying, okay, well, something, whatever. And he says, love you. And he sends a smiley emoji, or he sends it like a smiley emoji, strong arm emoji, American flag emoji, American eagle emoji, and a red helicopter emoji. And if you didn't know, that he loves his freaking helicopter, man. I'm pretty sure he loves that more than anything on the earth, pretty much, is that red helicopter, because it's, you know, flew down from the heavens and whatnot or something. That's, you know, it's kind of being earthly possessed anyway for a Christian. But anyway, after that, I was hurt. It's been a couple months after that message, you know, speaking in that timeline. So I decided to make videos mocking Roselle and his services, which, you know, I'm not saying that I did the right thing. That's a bad way to try and talk to him. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the guts to go face him and talk to him. So I decided to be cowardly and make mocking videos instead of pulling up my big boy britches and go and talk to someone who hurt me. I take full responsibility for that. and it was the wrong thing to do. And after I posted the second video, fast forward to December 16th, 2022 at 7 o'clock. Or no. Fast forward to the week of, so after the video, fast forward, I'm trying to go to the, it's like a clinic or something, and it's a autism spectrum, it's an autism, how do I say this? It's an autism, how do I say that? It's like an autism spectrum analysis place. It's like to see, what kind of level of autism you have, and, just a meet and greet, get to know each other, shake each other's hands and see if it'll be a good assessment plan with that person or doctor or whatever. And it went good, and then, it makes sense because I showed signs of being autistic when I was a child and up till now, and it made sense. So we went there, and then I told my dad, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go, I pulled my big boy britches up. I'm like, you know what, I want to go try and talk to Michael, see if we can't get this squashed, maybe talk it out, just squash it like men, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? So I went to the place, Refuge Ranch Ministries. I walked in. I went to the worship center, I think. Yeah, worship center. Because if I'm looking for someone like when I did at my other church, I'd always look in not the fellowship hall, the worship center, see what was going on. I just went in there to peek. It was empty. No one is in there. I'm like, okay. So I went up to the front desk, and I said, is Michael here by chance? And she said, no, unfortunately, he's not. So she said that, I can get Michelle on the, on the line, which was, or not was, but is Michael Roselle's daughter. I picked up the phone, and then I said, hey, or I said hello, and she said, hi, Michael Roselle's not there right now. He prays and sees people by appointment only. Can I take your name? Who is this by chance? And I said, James. She said, who? She knew who I was. When I was going to the ranch and whatnot, I'd see her walking through not the fellowship hall, the worship center. And, she'd be like, he'll be with you right in a minute to pray with you after Friday nights, because everyone went up to him for prayer. So I said, yeah, this is James McLean. This is James McLean. She said, I don't know you. I'm like, okay. And so I said, sorry for bothering you. And it was like, blah, blah, blah. Went on with our day, hanged up the phone, gave it to the nice lady. She smiled, I smiled, waved by, walked out the door. And I get in the car and I'm leaving the parking lot, and all of a sudden, like per se, my car's over here. Her car's underneath the portico and whatnot. She got enough time to get in her car. Well, how should I say this? When I was walking to my car, I backed up, was trying to leave, and all of a sudden, I see the car that was underneath the portico right in front of me, like taking a video of me. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, I was sitting there waiting for her to go because I didn't know if she was trying to turn this way. I don't know. I didn't know who it was at the time, so I'm like, are you going to go? She's sitting there on the phone. I'm like, all right, fine. So I just turn off. I'm like, wait a minute, that was her at the front desk. For an old lady, she's freaking quick. Seriously, she was behind me, and all of a sudden, she's in front of me without a blink of an eye. I'm like, that's freaking fast. This was like December 13th or 14th, and then fast forward to the following Friday, which was December 16th. Why did I say 19? Which was December 16th, 2022, at 7 o'clock. I pull up, and there's his son-in-law, Kirby, and some other bald white dude. I pull up, I'm like, hey, did Michael get his papers? And I said that because, one, I was nervous, and two, before I went over there, I basically made a fail-safe, I guess, and I went to small claims court and made a court summons for him to go to court, and I already sent it off, and it was being processed. So I kind of slipped up, and I said, does Michael have his papers? And he said, what papers? I don't know what papers. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, can I speak to him or something like that? I can't exactly remember. All I know was that Kirby was stalling us to be there. I'm like, this is weird, and my dad felt uneasy about the situation, so I was like, okay, well, we gotta go. And he's like, well, wait, how have you guys been? I haven't seen you guys in a while. And I'm just like, he's stalling, and all of a sudden, this burgundy, clear coat damaged 1998 Ford van speeds up and skirts the brakes and tires, steps out, and puts his arm through the car and says, step out the car. He said, step out the car. I'm like, wait, what's going on? He's like, I'll tell you in a minute, step out the car. I'm like, well, okay. I turned off the car, got out, and then he turned around and put me up against my car, and he didn't do a pat down. He actually pulled my britches back, my freaking underwear, and looked down my butt crack. That's not a pat down. I mean, I was uncomfortable. I'm like, what is this dude doing? And he was digging down here through my pockets to try and find things. I'm like, what are you doing? I was stunned, but I didn't do anything because I was in shock. And then when he didn't find anything, he said, stay right there. And he never told me who he was. He didn't identify himself. He just ran up on me, shoved his hand down my pants, and then walked off. And he didn't even buy me dinner first. I mean, it's just, that's a crappy thing to do. Obviously, that's a joke, but I need to lighten up a little bit when I'm talking about serious topics like this. But anyway, he says, stay here. He walks off. I'm like, what's going on? Or no, he didn't say, no. He said, stay there. And he looked at this dude that was short, white, and bald. He said, call 911 about him trying to shoot he said, call 911. He said something like that. He said, call 911. He's here to shoot the pastor. Or it was the white bald guy who said that. I think that's what happened. He said, call 911. He gets on the phone with 911 and he says, yeah, I got someone here trying to shoot the pastor. And me and my dad are like, what? What? Where did this come from? And he's just like, I heard my dad in the car and he said, that's some bullshit. Like, that's what he said. But he did, he couldn't get out the car. I mean, I'm not going to get in the detail with that. It's just, he was very uncomfortable. So I got out of the car and I dealt with the situation. He said, yeah, he's here trying to shoot the pastor. That's an active shooter situation. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, where did you get this from? And then he's just, while he's on the phone, I start giving him my information because I don't know what the heck's going on. I hate being in trouble. I like being in cooperation with the police. They're really good people. Because most police are good people, and my dad's actually a friend with the police over here, and I like police, and so I'm like giving this dude my information, my weight, my height, color of my eyes, hair, giving him all the dimensions because I'm not gonna play this game. Like, if he's accusing me of this, I'm not going to be accused of something I'm not gonna do. And then I'm like, what are you doing? And then he gets off the phone with the police and he said, the white guy, short, bald, whatnot, heavy set. He says, you can get in the car and leave if you want. The cops will just catch you on down the road later. I'm like, why would I do that? And he was trying to get me to leave so I could get arrested. But anyway, it's just like, I'm not falling for that game. It's just like, leave. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then the cops showed up, which, get this. I actually got a whiteboard to show you how crazy this is, because when the cops came over, it was about 2 minutes. And I'll show you. was standing here. Okay. So basically, right here is the road to turn left. I turn left. And then up here, I turn right. And here's the church cult parking lot. And this is where I was stopped, per se. And this road actually continues on to here, back on this stretch of road. And I'm looking this way, and there is not not two, but three police cars coming this way to the church, bumper to bumper, no lights or sirens, and just cruising at 15 miles per hour on an active shooter situation. That's not sketchy at all. It's like they knew that it wasn't a threat. But anyways, when they got to over here, they flipped their lights and sirens on, and they're actually being serious. They're like, all right, what's going on? And the officer actually patted me down. He patted me down. He didn't look at my ass crack. He didn't look at my ass crack. He patted me down for weapons, which is fine. He did his job. And I said, why were you guys waiting for me? Because this looks like he's waiting for me. Like it's a sting operation. He said we weren't. We were in a neighborhood close by. Okay, and then I put let's see, here's the neighborhood. And from here to get to this point, they went over this way, per se, went up this street and went over here on an active shooter situation, cruising with no lights and no sirens, in a neighborhood that's 2 minutes. No. The closest neighborhood would be 5 minutes away, give or take. And they showed up with 2 minutes cruising. It doesn't make sense. It's telling me that they were waiting for me. But anyways. They arrived there. They said I was trying to shoot him, and then I sat in the car because it was cold. And then he said, all right, so what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to trespass you. I'm like, for what? Anyways, signed the trespass papers, drove off. I was actually freaking broken inside. I was crying on the way home. I was hurt. I was like, how could they do something like this? Because everyone, where we were at, there's huge glass windows. Everyone was looking at me like I was some sort of active shooter, murderer. I was like, that hurt because that's not who I am. And people were just looking at me with all judgment. And it's just like, of all people, Christians are being the most judgmental. But anyway, I'm like, maybe they were given, they bought into this huge scandal. And I'm just like, well, anyway. I was driving home. I'm hurt. I actually went to the magistrate to see if they couldn't do anything. I went to the police station to see if they couldn't do anything. It was a long damn night. I was the one who put my big boy pants on to go talk to him like men. Talking, because, Michael, you like to think talking is the threat because, antisocial people like that take it as a threat. But anyway, I was the one to talk to him, talk to you, and you made up this whole lie to get back at me for the videos, which is kind of inappropriate for a pastor. It's not really Christian-like. But anyway, it's been months. I was hurt. Or not, okay, let me back up. So, I was hurt, really hurt the next Friday. And actually, when I was looking at the video of that night, he was really happy
some of you online that are judging me right now, I guarantee you, what's the most important heartbeat you have? It's the last one. When you step out of time into eternity, I pray in Jesus' name that you're listening to the Spirit of truth and that you meet a holy God after you've repented. Just repent of a mistake. I mean, one sin's no greater than another, really. So, I mean, what's the difference of like me being just, sucked down, whatever, $300,000 in cocaine, and I didn't think I was hooked. But I repented of it, and I got delivered from it, and all the stuff that came with it. And God changed me through the Holy Spirit by humbling myself. And anybody battling with anything that you can't have in heaven, that's how you get in jail. If you can't have it in heaven, you just it's about repentance and taking a stand and getting delivered and making sure that Jesus Christ is Lord over every area of your life. And I've been telling people all week long, this is the simplest way to run your life and you'll get to heaven. If Jesus wouldn't do it, you don't do it. If Jesus would do it, you do it. And that talks about emotions, what comes out of your mouth, what you're looking at, what you're listening to, where your feet take you, what your hands touch. Don't give something to a demon. It's supposed to go to your spouse. You know why I think we got messed up kids? There was a demonstration of that tonight, right? You know what I'm talking about?
It was just horrendous to watch. But anyway, my backup plan worked, and he got the court summons. And he wasn't too happy about that. And I actually have videos right here where he starts threatening me. He's, I'll let you see it.
I know I got some challenging people watching me, and I love you in Jesus, and God's going to have his way. Amen. Love you in Jesus, and God's going to have his way. I'd be very, very careful. But when you're so wound up and concerned about money, especially when you don't work, if you don't work and you just want other people's money, it's so going to backfire on you. This is a big one. If people are going to have to learn, is the people that can accept correction. People can accept correction. That's maturity.
That's good.
By the way, in the name of Jesus, anybody that can hear my voice right now needs to take note of who you're giving glory to with your mouth, with your actions. Because the consequences are coming very, very soon.
That's not concerning. Pastor making threats and having God on his side saying, God's going to have his way. Love you in Jesus, but God's going to have his way. I'd be very, very careful. Yeah, that's not threatening at all, apparently, in his eyes. And then he said, all you care about is money. All you care about is money. So gonna backfire on you. Yeah, you care about money, and I think it's backfiring right now because you're not looking too good. Anyway, and then he says, I got some challenged people watching me, and I love you in Jesus, but God's gonna have his way. And it's just, it's just horrendous. And then he had the audacity to say, people who can't accept correction, people who can accept people who can accept correction, that's maturity. He looked at me he looked at the camera and said that. I'm like, you are one big hypocrite for saying that, because you made up a whole lie and then you're gonna lecture me about accepting correction. Okay. Okay. Anyway. I guess he skipped out on the short bus a little bit. But anyway. Or he forgot to get picked up by the short bus. Anyway. The threatening like that continued. And I continued making my videos while doing this. And then he said, he's trying to get me to come over there. He said, maybe you should stop being raunchy and come to the ranch and look what it's all about.
But to go around and be so stupid to tell people that the ranch is not doing the right thing, I don't know. You might want to quit being so raunchy and come to the ranch. And I'll show you what's in you. Amen. Thank you. Okay.
She's like, but you signed a trespass against me. So you're trying to get me arrested. I'm not quick to anger like you, bud. I don't make threats like you do. I'm not thinking I'm the alpha dog all the time. See, I'm smarter than you because I realize when I'm not right all the time. Maybe you should take some pointers on that, like you knowing that you're not correct or right in everything all the time. That makes you wise, but you're not really giving off the wise type. I mean, because you think you know everything, you sexual intellect. Anyway, I continued making the videos. We showed up to the court date on March 1st, 2023. And he was just not having it. He was slapping the table like this. He said, let us go. We're very important people. Let us go. He was telling the judge what to do. I'm like, okay. That's just inappropriate behavior for a godly-like man. But anyway. And then he goes on to accuse me of building a bomb. A freaking bomb. He said he made a baseless accusation saying that I built a bomb. And he said it was behind my door. I don't see anything because there wasn't anything. Anyway, he said I built a bomb, I'm controlling my parents, blah, blah, blah. And he said, if we continue with this, you'll see that he's the problem, not me. And then he scoffed that I said that I'm on disability. He scoffed at everything I said, obviously, because he knows everything, and everything that anyone else says that opposes him is complete BS. Everyone he needs admiration that he's always right, and he's got, no empathy for anyone else. Sounds like a narcissist. Huh. Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, and then, I didn't win that court date. He didn't win either. It was adjourned. We tried. It was fine because I had wanted that money. It was a small claims court. I wanted money to reimburse everything for in here because I was wanting compensation because while he was asleep, I was out working at a job, Chick-fil-A, that on a daily basis I would leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I was working when he was asleep for everything I earned. I mean, everything that was in here. Nice new bed, awesome TV, game consoles. I'm not trying to worship anything or nothing and trying to make it like, oh, that's my life or anything, but I worked tirelessly for all the stuff I earned, and he just took it away like it was nothing because he didn't work for it. I mean, I worked when he was freaking asleep, and he just took all the stuff from me. And then he's like, oh, that's nothing. Whatever. All the stuff he earned was probably from drug trafficking, which he claims, He said that he was a drug trafficker, and he was really wealthy, and his parents were wealthy, and blah, blah, blah. But anyway. And it's just like, I mean, I would show you if I didn't have I would show you, but it's against the law, but he's really wealthy. I mean, he's got a military compound for a house. A military compound. And that's not saying anything like he worships money or anything. And he says God blessed him with money to do the things he could do for his ministry and whatnot. But last time I checked, every Friday night, you didn't say anything about donating to any charities, the Salvation Army, Goodwill, the homeless community, helping the neighbors in need, cutting grass, Operation Christmas Child, no food drop, nothing. Didn't say he was donating to anything from when I was going there. Maybe he had a change of heart, which, let's be honest, someone like that won't. But anyway, anything's possible, I suppose. But yeah, he doesn't donate to anything, and he lives in a lap of luxury. And with the money that's coming in from tithing, he doesn't say he's doing anything with it. And as a church, you're supposed to tell the congregation what you're doing with funds you get into the church. Kind of sketchy, but anyway. That's, what happened. And then with that court date, and then later on, I got a lawyer letter actually stating that he wants me to take down all the videos, and I'm sending threatening and harassing emails to him. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's just, here, I'll read it to you. Oh yeah, I took this to the court date, and I told Roselle that I got all sorts of evidence. He didn't like that too much. Let's see here. Here it is. Gonna need that. Okay, so here it is. This is what he sent me. And I read, please accept this letter as a notice that this firm represents Michael Roselle, Refuge Ranch Ministries, and associated ministers, and other employees. Mr. Roselle received a summons, and I put another, court date for him on the second time, so I took him to court twice. So this is what this court date is referring to. Michael Roselle has received a summons in file number, say, for conversation. As you may be aware, conversion is a legal term meaning that you are accusing him of taking your property without any cause or permission. Property, of course, tangible items that you own. Under description of property, you have listed invasion of privacy, false accusations, and emotional damage/abuse. None of these things are property capable of being converted within the meaning of the law. Well, if that's the case, why was it accepted and you were called to court? Through the process of that, they deem it if it's worthy of going to court or not. So I don't buy that. You have not and cannot under this basis state a claim for which relief can be granted by the courts. Not buying it. We are requesting that you dismiss your claim as it is not one that can legally be brought. Not buying it. Further, we are also requesting that you and your family cease and desist all harassing conduct, including but not limited to filing baseless lawsuits. It's not baseless, I got proof. Posting defamatory videos on the internet. Wasn't defamatory. I didn't manipulate anything that you said. I said I got stuff that you said, and then you said I caught you saying stuff that contradicted that and posted it. It's not my fault, it's yours. And communicating via email or any other means our clients, including but not limited to Michael Roselle, Michelle Lee, Mike Almeida. I didn't try to contact Michelle Lee or Almeida, just Roselle. Not buying it. And other ministers. Oh wait, I got evidence. I did actually try to talk to Mr. Kemple and a dude named Anthony. Those two extra, but I didn't try to talk to Michelle or Almeida. And other ministers. People holding ministerial positions, Mike Almeida and other ministers, people holding ministerial positions, and employees of Refuge Ranch Ministries. Please see one of your most recent emails enclosed here as an example of the harassing conduct which should cease immediately. I've got the legal definition of harassing, and basically it means intimidation, annoying messages without meaning or cause or without reason. And I had a reason, and I was trying to tell him to stop making lies about me trying to go shoot him. So, let's see here. Here it is. Let's read one of the emails, shall we? Hello, Mr. Roselle. This is me, James. Once again, I asked you that you tell the truth and reveal the truth to your congregation and finally put to rest this crazy Good Samaritan pastor act. I will be watching your speech tonight, and I asked you to please reveal the truth. You are not a pastor. You didn't go through years of prayer, trial and error, and discernment. Now that, maybe I shouldn't have said that. If it would, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. That wasn't my business. So I am out of line for saying that. But me personally, I just don't buy it. That's just my opinion. But I shouldn't have stated that. But anyway, you have not earned the title pastor. So instead, you made yourself out to be a pastor when you're not. If you will, self-appointed pastor. Because me and you both know you're not one. You're not one. You're more of a false prophet type, which is, to me, that's true. Well, it's my opinion. So again, I'm going to be watching tonight. If you do tell the truth, if you don't tell the truth, if you do tell the truth or don't tell the truth, God will allow truth to be revealed anyway. That's not threatening. I'm not insinuating any bodily harm. And you know what? I got the definition of threatening right here, and I'll read it right here. Law. Definition of threatening. Showing an intention to cause bodily harm. Okay? I don't think there's any threats of bodily harm. No. There's not. And I have here another email that he didn't like to share because, he likes to put one narrative into everything. That's his own. And that is this. And what I mean, I'm going to be watching your speech tonight is because I'm desperate for people to finally know I wasn't trying to kill anybody. I wasn't going to. That hurt, if anyone was accused of this, they'd want to see that he put things right too. So I'm just throwing that out there. And here's the second email. Hey, Michael Roselle. I'm contacting you about the false accusations you have made against me. The false accusations contains false accusations about me being an attempted murderer against you, and the false information about me telling you that I was going to put a gun to my head and shoot myself. As you know, that is a lie. There's more information about that I'm going to share in a second. And everyone in your church thinks I am what you say I am, and that hurts. I forgive you, and you need to tell your congregation the truth, and you need to tell your congregation the truth. People that can, you need to tell your congregation the truth that I wouldn't and will never attempt or even think to do that. In your words, I said I'm, but it's in typing error. In your words, people that can accept correction, that's maturity. And if you believe that, then act on it. Because a man is nothing without his word. And I forgive you for mocking that I don't work. And all I want is your money. For clarification on that, I had 3 jobs before all this OCD started taking place, and I loved the work. And unfortunately, with my OCD, I can't really get a job at the moment. That's why I'm on disability. That kind of hurts. So, whatever. It's not like he gets out there and picks up a shovel or makes people sandwiches at Subway or makes people's food at Chick-fil-A or puts items on the shelf at Food Lion. He never did any of that or does any of that. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but right now he doesn't. Because I personally think he's allergic to work. Anyway, I love to work, and I am in the process of trying to work again. And the part about I want your money, I want compensation for the emotional damage you have caused me. That too. Not along with that, the emotional damage, that and the stuff in the room. Yes, you were attempting to help, but we all told you not to go in the room. But you did it. You did anyway, and you also said that you have carved out your precious time to come over, and we can do this all day. You weren't giving me a choice, and God gave us free will. And and the little figure you said moved didn't. And when you weren't talking to us, I made videos about your contradictions to get your attention. For example, you claim nothing can touch God's anointed, but you have security around you 24/7. That's a contradiction. And that's true. It's just like, I don't know, can you point that out? Like, you say nothing can touch God's anointed, but you got security guards around you 24/7. And at your house. You even stated that. You got security at your house in the security booth.
But you know what's really wild is that nothing can touch God's anointed. But I talked to one of our maintenance guy, our security guy where we live. And I told him, hey, listen, April and I ordered some stuff, and it's coming in a small package. And I said, they're going to leave it at the guardhouse, but
I thought cowards don't make it to heaven.
You can't walk in sin. I mean, obviously the Bible says that liars, cowards don't make it to heaven.
Anyway. And you also said that you have to take responsibility for every word that comes out of your mouth to God. And I hope and pray that you will speak the truth about your lies before Jesus' second coming. And you also said in the Bible, it states that if you bring a cursed thing into your home becomes a cursed thing. If that's true, your house is a cursed thing as well, because you have money from tithing and you bring it home to your house. Shouldn't have said that. Don't know if it's true or not, but just speaking out there, because for my opinion, I don't know what he's doing with his offerings. But anyway, because you have money from tithing and you bring it home, your home is a cursed thing. Because you don't know where that money has been. From prostitutes, drug dealers, selling people's bodies, you don't know. So please, tell the truth about what really happened on the night I went to go talk to you. It breaks my heart every day knowing you manipulated people into thinking I was going to come and It breaks my heart every day knowing you manipulated people into thinking I was going to come and shoot you in the head. Because of this, I don't want to go to any other church ever again, and you have to take responsibility for this in front. You have to take responsibility for this too in front of God. And again, please tell the truth. That wasn't in there. Because right here it shows I'm not trying to be threatening. And he needs every little means to get me to be threatening. Further, emails containing threats must also cease immediately. No threats. Not buying it. Similarly, all videos with footage from the services Similarly, all videos with footage from services of Refuge Ranch Ministries or including the likeliness or voice of our clients found at my YouTube name, James McLean 05, and they misspelled it. His lawyer misspelled it. Okay. Or any other video hosting website such as TikTok or Instagram. That was my sister defending me. I don't have TikTok. I have Instagram, but I didn't post anything on my Instagram. I think I did post once, but then I deleted it because I didn't want to see that asshole again. Anyway, should you instead continue with this harassing conduct, my clients have asked that we move for a restraining order against you, and we are prepared to do so. Okay? These videos are liable per se under the laws of the state of blah blah blah. Libel per se is defamation, which when considered alone with explanatory circumstances tends to impeach a person in that person's trade or profession. Blah 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 blah. Act blah blah. 1994, you are clearly in your publication of these videos insinuating that Mr. Roselle, Mrs. Lee, and Mr. Almeida are not capable of performing their roles as ministers. That's damn right. Good job, lawyer. You're the only one who got any of it. This is defamatory and harmful to not only the ministers of the church, but also the congregation and their ministry. It's not defamatory if I'm pointing out my opinion that a ministry is not fulfilling their roles. It's not defamatory. Harmful. It's harmful. It's harmful for Roselle's wallet. It's the only thing it's harmful to. It's not harmful. I don't know what he's getting by this. I'm sharing my opinions, and it's harmful apparently. But when he shares his opinions about threatening me, it's all right.
Wearing a mask was not designed by God, and it's already been proven, right? It was proven it was totally worthless. Okay? The jab, the stinking jab. I pray they hang each one of those guys slowly in front of everybody to put the fear of the Lord inside other people. Now you can say, well, that doesn't sound like a pastor. No, you don't sound like you're too smart if you agree with that. Here's with agreeing with that, I didn't say what I said was right.
What?
Anyway, after the events in December 16th, 2022, in February, there was a video of Roselle saying, and I have a list of names, and he looked at the camera, smiled, shook his head, and he says, I have a list of names. You know who I'm talking to. And on that day, it was a Friday, maybe, I don't know what time it was, I'll show it. There was a car here that's actually been stalking the house for a little bit that day that looked exactly like the dude who pulled me out the car. And he was stalking the house when he said that exact same line.
It's in the name of Jesus Christ. I come against Satan's kingdom. With the authority that is given to me, I use Galatians 3:13, and I break and I cancel every curse, spoken and unspoken. And I have a list of names. You're on the list. You know who I'm talking to.
A dude from the ministry stalking the house. That's not good. That's not really Christian-like, you know. That's a no-no, and I'll show you the stuff here and whatnot, and so you can see for yourself. And then I was also trying to talk to, like I said, I was trying to talk to two other people in the ministry, Mr. Kemple, which I thought we were good friends, but when he listens to one side of the narrative, he tends to disregard anyone else's saying things. He just blindly listens to his leader, and he just disconnected all phone numbers with me, and he didn't give me one blink of, he didn't give me one little bit of talking or anything like that. And then I tried to talk to the dude named Anthony through text, and I'll show you the text. Basically, he was like, "Oh, you're not going to talk to me, blah blah blah." And then at the end, I said, "Look, I'm not trying to start a fight. Look, I'm trying to tell you I didn't do what I was accused of." And then he says, "I have nothing to say about nothing." And then he says, "Please leave me alone." And then I do, because again, I'm hurt, and I'm like, whatever, or no, actually, that's not how it went. After he said that, I read it. He blocked me because his number disappeared out of my contacts and whatnot. And then I was going about my day, and then he unblocked me and said, "Please leave me alone." He was trying to get me in trouble. I know BS when I see it. And that was just pure BS. He was trying to make it look like I was harassing him. And it was just complete bullcrap. But then anyway. Yeah, and then on the second court date, nothing really else happened. He basically got his lawyer there on a technicality, so that way they could be adjourned and whatnot. But when he showed up there, I mean, he was just all smug about stuff. And then when my family came with me to the court date, and they saw where Roselle leaned back in his chair, turned to his wife like this, and then gave her a wink and a smile, like a smirk or something. Like he smiled and winked at her. And it's just like, get a room. Like, are you saying that, this is going to be a piece of cake and whatnot? Or are you trying to be flirty with your wife in court? It's just like, this dude doesn't know how to keep it in his pants at all. And that's probably why he ended up in jail. Maybe it wasn't for convicted drug trafficking. Maybe he just got his ass kicked by a woman because she had enough of his bullshit. Obviously, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just voicing my opinions. What are you going to do about it? Anyway. Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened. And what's really weird to me is that they would try... Roselle, actually, I got something because I actually went to the police station and I got the police report. And I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. Yep. Here's the police report, and I'm going to read it. This is going to go in detail of what happened that night, and we're going to go from there. So this is what it says. Upon arrival on the scene, I contacted the security guard, Ben, who advised that they wanted assistance in identifying someone on the property making threats to shoot another person. Ben stated that on Monday, 12/13/22, around 1426 hours, an unknown white male entered one of the buildings on the grounds at Refuge Ranch, requesting to speak with the pastor of Refuge Ranch, Michael Roselle. The employee of Cross Ridge advised the white male that Michael was not currently on site, but she could reach out to his daughter, Michelle Lee, or just Michelle. by phone while he was there so he could speak with her. This appeased the male, like whatever, and made contact. This appeased the male, like, okay. I was just like, cool. I wasn't like, oh yes. But anyway, this appeased the male, and I assume that's me, made contact with Michelle via telephone, and it was talking about her. She made contact with Michelle via telephone and handed the phone to the unknown male, me. And she then walked away. When she returned, the unidentified male ended the phone call and told her that the next time he sees Michael, he would shoot him in the head. Really? That's the best lie you can come up with, and you make me sound like a damn robot? Like, it's just real. I don't make threats like that. I mean, seriously. Whatever. And then, like, I'm just going to continue reading. Let's see here. In an effort to try and identify the male as he left the facility, she responded to her vehicle and drove around the car where the male was driving and obtained the license plate number. Well, if I said that, why would an old lady try and go get my license plate number? If I threaten to shoot somebody, why would she try and act like G.I. Joe and try to save the day? Yeah, I'm not buying it. Anyway, Blank spoke further with Michelle by phone and was informed that this male had made statements like this before to Michelle and Michael, and they were familiar with him, but she wasn't familiar with me on that phone call. Blank later made Ben and other staff members aware of what occurred after the male had left the property. Ben advised that on behalf of Crossridge and Refuge Ranch, they wanted to have the male identified and placed on trespass notice from the property. I asked Ben if he had contact information for Michelle or Michael. He advised that he have to obtain that information so I could reach out to them to see if they knew any identifying information on the subject. I advised Ben that I would complete a case report and would inform them once identification was made. I then cleared the location. Ben did provide photos of the suspect and the vehicle, which will be uploaded to this case once it has been merged into LERMS. And here's where it gets weird. They literally take photos of me. And here I am. Just walking into the church to see if he's in there. That's it. No weapon. Let's see here. That's the door to the worship center. No one was in there, so I just left to the front desk. The fact that a pastor would manipulate all this is just scary to me. They went as far as to spy on my YouTube, take pictures of it, take pictures of my car. Once again. It's just like, how many photos do they need? Once again. That's barely even the clip of my car. Whatever. Anyway, all it shows is that I entered the place, and that's it. I mean, granted, you got all this manipulation to go off of, but it's just like, I mean, you got all... All it shows is me going to the place. You know, why didn't they provide, like, actual audio of me threatening? Why isn't it on this report? Anyway, there's hardly any evidence other than showing that I was there. Anyway, I'll continue. Let's see here. Additionally, I ran the license plate through blah, which returned to a 2011 Chevy with expired registration. They didn't even get my name right, whatever. Ben was able to provide contact information for Michelle, and I reached out to her by phone. Michelle stated that she and her father has had issues with the mail in the past, and that she knows his name to be James McClain, and that he resides somewhere in blah blah. But she didn't know me on the phone. It's just, again, it's just like, what? Anyway, this will make sense later. I'll show you on how this is all a scam. Anyway, let's see here. Michelle stated that James has made these threats in the past towards her father, and said that James suffers from various mental disorders. Now, this is actually true, but none to where I would want to shoot people. It's OCD, anxiety, but Roselle doesn't like to call them mental disorders. They call them demonic attacks, but here they like to call them the real term on a police report, so it makes them look good or something. I don't know, but anyways, I'll continue. Michelle stated that she and her father last heard from James during the summertime after her father was asked to come to his parents' residence and blah 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 to pray with James. And this is a lie. He did come over to the house, but not in the summertime, and I'll show that. During the prayer, James said he would get a gun and shoot himself. That's a lie. Obviously, I'm still here. That's defamatory right there. You insinuating that I said that to your ministry and it wasn't true is defamation by law. And it's defamatory and can be sued in a civil court. That's defamatory. Anyway, James had also made a compilation video mocking Roselle services on YouTube. You get a gold star for finally telling the truth on something. Let's continue. Hit of the week. Anyways, that's a reference to Ice Age, but anyways. Michelle stated that she would try to locate further information on James regarding his address. So now she's actively trying to stalk me. Okay, so now she's a police officer now. She's a pastor, and now she's a police officer. Let the police do their job, woman. Michelle stated that they had been told that James could be riding on a motorcycle and driving the Ford Fusion that was seen on the church grounds. Now, how the hell do they know about my motorcycle? Because only my family and a few other people know about my motorcycle, and it's on my Instagram. And it's private. How are they getting this information? They're stalking. It's just like, seriously. Who could blame them for stalking me or who could blame them for noticing the motorcycle? I spent 3 months of hard-earned work on it, which you, Roselle, you claim I don't like to work, but, believe what you want to believe, I guess. But anyway, they were stalking me to try to find anything on me that they could, because they're desperate to try and get me arrested or something, or avenge. Anyway. I informed Michelle that I would notify the other deputies in the district of the matter. Michelle said she appreciated the assistance, and we ended our conversation. I reached out to a contact with blah blah blah, who was able to locate information on James, me, as well as his parents, blah, 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 blah. I tried to speak with blah, blah, my mom, by telephone. about this matter before attempting to talk with James. I left my mom a voicemail asking for her to return my phone call. This case will remain open for investigation. I don't remember my mom getting a voicemail from there, but I'm not saying that they did or didn't, I just don't remember. And then here's a Cross Ridge thing report. You can read it if you want to. I'll blur out any personal information, even regarding to the people that accused me of doing something I would never do. Even though they did wrong, I'm not a barbarian. I'm not going to reveal people's personal information. So good luck trying to manipulate that one. But basically, it's highlighted here. It says, the subject stated he was looking for Roselle, which is correct. I was looking for him. And that he was going to shoot him in the head once he was located. That's false. Michelle advised blah blah that she and Roselle were familiar with the subject, and that he has made these types of threats in the past. That's false. Incident report. And that's really blank. Blank, just showing that they were trying to look for me, I guess. And then here's where it also gets interesting. On 12/16/22, DFC officer and I responded to responded to Refuge Ranch Ministries in reference to a trespass. The caller stated that the subject documented in this case was back on scene and they wanted him placed on trespass. Upon dispatch, the caller made it sound as if the subject, me, was actively threatening to shoot someone, because that's what they said. They said they're here trying to shoot the pastor. That's what they said. Upon arrival on the scene, I observed security personnel surrounding a vehicle. I also observed a male identified as James standing outside the vehicle. When I asked security personnel who was making the threats, they pointed to James, me. I then Terry frisked James, which produced no weapons. Okay. Very interesting detail. Inside the vehicle, I located James's father, identified as blah, 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 was also frisked, which produced no weapons. At this time, I obtained IDs from both subjects, which were run and returned clear. At this time, I spoke with Kirby, who is also security. Douglas stated that James had not made any threats during this incident. Gold Star, hit of the week. You actually told the truth. Good for you. The Marine who doesn't seem like a Marine to me, because I asked him why here, I'll just go ahead and get onto it. He's not a Marine. He's not Special Forces to me. He claims he was in the military, but when I first met him, he had a flag upside down on his hat. I shook his hand. I'm like, hey, why is your flag upside down on your hat? And he was all jiggly-necked and he couldn't answer. He's like, my dad had to step in and answer his question, which, note, my dad's not military background. Yeah, that doesn't scream military, hardcore military to me. But anyways, you told the truth. Good for you. You get a gold star or something, or whatever you imagine. Anyway, Douglas stated that James had not made any threats during this incident. Good for you. But someone else had overheard him make threats about shooting the pastor in the past. Well, if that's the case, why was I still going there in the summertime? If I was making threats, why didn't you kick me out sooner? Anyway. Douglas stated that they just wanted both subjects trespassed from the property, because it's easier to do that than face your problems, isn't it, Michael? Anyway, At this time, James and my dad were both placed on trespass from Refuge Ranch Ministries. Both subjects were advised if they returned to the property, they would be arrested for trespassing. A trespass notice was filled out, and will be turned in at end of shift. At this time, both subjects were given their IDs back and were allowed to leave the scene. My body cam or BWC was active during this incident due to the subject being served. This case can be cleared as unfound at this time, whatever that means. But there you have it. There's the police report. Now here's the real kicker for this. Why, on God's green earth that he made with the snap of his fingers, why was this, how do I show you without, anyway, I'll just blur it out. How was this the lawyer letter threatening for a restraining order? Why wasn't the main motivation for a restraining order for the multiple attempts or threats on Michael Rozell's daughter and himself? Why wasn't a restraining order? Why wasn't the restraining order the main drive, or why wasn't the main focus for a restraining order the multiple threats on their lives versus defamatory, a civil matter? Why wasn't the main motivation for a restraining order multiple threats on his life, apparently, which is physical violence, versus a civil defamatory case, which is civil court? It's all fake. This is the only thing they could get me on to even remotely try to do a restraining order. It's fake. It goes to show you how trustworthy churches are these days. They're not trustworthy at all. It's an amusing attempt to make me look like a shooter or something. But there you have it. It's all fake. All of it. It's an illusion. He's like the god-awful Mysterio, but without him being actually cool and hip. Or, whatever. Like, in a restraining orders for physical violence, by the way, not defamatory videos or stalking. Like, literally, and here's where it gets funny. He accused me of harassment, threatening, defamatory, and what he literally did to me was the threats on the video, the stalking by the person from his ministry stalking the house, harassment, let me start over. He accused me of being threatening. I didn't make any threats. He made threats on his freaking Friday nights. Defamatory. He claimed I was making up lies to destroy his reputation. I was not. He made up multiple very big lies about me and destroyed my reputation. Harassment. He harassed me by sending these people to stalk me, and they're not just that black car. I suspect that there's two other people from the ministry, one in a pickup truck and one in a white Cadillac. Literally, I suspect all those people were from his ministry. I can't confirm or deny, but they all came down here. The white car stalked the house, left when my sister got home. When I called the police about that, the Tundra went that way and hauled butt up the road. Anyways, accused me of threatening. I didn't threaten him. He threatened me. Defamatory. I didn't make up lies about him. I told the truth. He made up outlandish lies about me to ruin my reputation. Harassment and stalking. He harassed me and stalked me by sending people out here to stalk the house and then actually trying to look through my social media. He accused me everything of what they did to me. I didn't do any of this to them. They did it to me. Finally. The truth is finally out there. And, and you can get mad all you want, Michael, but, you have no one to blame but yourself, man. Okay, you and your daughter made lies. All of you made lies about me, about bombs, trying to shoot you, me controlling my parents, blah, blah, blah. You had to take responsibility for your actions. And you tried to silence me with intimidating me about a restraining order that I don't think would work in the court of law, because there was no actual physical threat towards you at all. But by you saying that there's a list of names out there, and you shake your head saying, you know who I'm talking to, that car pops up, now that's a threat right there. That's a threat. But anyway, I said what I needed to say. You have no one to be mad at but yourself. And you know this. You have no one to blame but yourself, because you decided to make up all this lie. For what reason? I don't know. You need to find out that answer. If you don't know, you need to seek help for it. Because that would be the right thing to do. But you have no one else to be. And also I'd like to point out, on going over there for an active shooter situation, that I went over there, they made up an active shooter situation. In order to get my ID, I have a black wallet. So they're already on a hair trigger for a potential active shooter. So when I reached for my wallet, there could have been a chance that I got shot. All because you made up a lie, because you don't know how to handle reality anymore. You need help, bud. Big time. You need a lot of help, to be honest, because you just played with people's lives. Even if it wasn't me, if it was someone else, that tells me you have no problem playing with other people's lives. You really don't. But anyway, the truth is out there now. You have no one to be mad at but yourself. 2 years of all this manipulation and a whole year of me trying to fix your screw up. You got no one to be mad at but yourself. Alright? You got no one to be mad at but yourself. I tried to talk to you. You were a coward. You made up lies about me. And these are the consequences of being a bully on stage as a minister trying to help people. But anyways, the truth is out there, and it's up to you what you want to do. I don't want this to go any further. I know I disobeyed what you requested, but still, it's not grounds for a restraining order. I was hurt, and I couldn't move past the lie that you made about me, so I had to set the record straight, because we all know you wouldn't. So it's up to you. Please leave me alone. Don't stalk the house anymore. Don't send private investigators from your ministry anymore, please. Because I live with my parents at the moment, and I can't tolerate, and I won't tolerate this sort of behavior from a ministry with me living with my parents. I will not tolerate it. I won't. I know you're unhinged, you're crazy, but I'm telling you right now, if there's any more people stalking the house, any more threats issued, anything, I will have to get the law involved, unfortunately, because I don't want money, I don't want anything. I just want you to leave me alone after I revealed all of this to your congregation and to the world. So there you have it. Please leave me alone. If you don't, there's going to be legal repercussions for your actions, and that's all there is to it. It's not a threat, it's an advisement. Because if you keep stalking the house, what else am I supposed to do? Roll over and show my belly every time you snarl? No, that's how this works. Leave me alone. I won't. I'm not posting any more videos of you. This isn't defamatory. I'm done. The truth's out there. Now please leave me alone. All right. That's the end of the video. Thank God for truth. Time to get a victory pizza.